Hi there, and welcome to the Scrivener Video Beat series. I'm Sean Platt, and in this series I'm going to show you how my writing partner Johnny and I use Scrivener to create beats so that we can tell awesome stories as efficiently as possible. What you're looking at now is the latest iteration of the system, the formula that Johnny and I have been using. And we tend to evolve things from project to project. We're systems oriented, and it's not that we want our work to be formulaic, but we know that if we lay kind of an internal formula for the two of us to follow, we're going to get better with each project, with the way that we work, which means that ultimately we could tell better stories faster. And as storytellers, that's kind of the end game for us all, right? So let's start with kind of a definition of what we mean by beats. If you listen to the podcast or if you've read Write, Publish, Repeat, then you already know what beats are, and you're probably pretty excited to get to the meat of this video and the series because beats seem to be the most requested thing that we talk about, or at least one of them. There's a lot of interest around it because when done well, when intelligently articulated, beats can really just take all the pain out of writing because it allows you to just kind of turn on your storytelling and go. Now, essentially, the way we use the word beats is major moments of the story that kind of lead the reader, and the writer in this case actually, from one scene into the next. They give us an outline to write the story around. Think of it like fences. This is fences or road signs. They tell you where to go, but it doesn't mean you have to follow them. We hop the fence all the time. If you're a pantser, if you're the type of writer who likes to make it up as you go along and you're worried that any kind of a strict outline will confine your creativity, it truly won't. We can promise that. We deviate from our beats all the time. Sometimes they don't even resemble the end story, and that's okay. They're just supposed to be a loose framework to kind of get you started, get you going, so that you know where to go. And of course, the characters always speak for themselves, and that's okay. You should expect that. Now, we do our entire process in Scrivener, from the very first idea to the beats I pass to Johnny, to the rough draft he gets back from me. The only time we ever leave Scrivener is when we export to Word so that our editor can edit it, and then we just import it right back in. So this is Scrivener, is the app that you see open in front of you right now. And if you are a writer and you're not using Scrivener, you really should be. Scrivener is just fantastic. There's no way that we could do the volume of work that we're doing or keep our creativity as fluid as we do without software like this. This is the best we've ever seen. It's the opposite of Microsoft Word. You can drag and drop chapters. We can do all of our research and store it in buckets here. Now, this is cool. I mean, we're using this for fiction, and it's really awesome. We've got our locations and our characters and our beats, our overall story, notes, and this is all here, and it doesn't get in the way of the manuscript up top, which is really great. See, this is my job down here and Johnny's job up here. He's going to fill this with, 100,000 words on this story based on what's below here. But it's all in the same document. You can store PDFs, you can store web links, you can store video, you can store photos. It's really pliable. It's really cool. And if you are a writer, you absolutely owe it to yourself to get this very inexpensive tool that will help you every single day for the rest of your writing life, or at least for the foreseeable future until they come up with something more amazing that thinks for us. But if you're a thinker, this is a great piece of software to bring your ideas to life. Now, this video is just an introduction. I wanted to show you what you can expect from the finished video series. This is really complete as far as beats go, but it took a long time to get here, and through this series, we'll show you how we got there. One very important, I would say essential thing to keep in mind throughout this entire series is that what you're watching is the way we do things. It's not the way you should necessarily do things for yourself. If you try to copy us exactly, you're probably going to get something wrong simply because our situation isn't the same as your situation. So what's right for us might not be right for you. Even within our own community, Dave and I use Scrivener very differently than Johnny and I use Scrivener because we have different ends, we have different work habits, we have different styles. So what you want to do is watch this series and extract what is most helpful to you and apply that to your situation. just don't copy and paste the system, because it'll probably lead you in the right direction. The wrong direction, sorry. Now, the story I'll be using for these videos is called Axis of the World. Oh, that's the working title anyway. I'm not really sure. I've had a couple ideas. Johnny's had a couple ideas. It doesn't matter. It's called Axis now. These beats are done. They're just waiting for his words. So let's take a look at the different parts of this Scrivener file. First thing to notice is that all the beats are stored right here, just as I said earlier. They're all under research. Nothing's going to get in the way of this top part, which is really, really important. Now, this to-dos list, this is really, really great. Now, Johnny's going to fill this with questions. Once he gets these beats, he's going to go through, the story. He's going to go through the beats. He's going to read all about the characters. He's going to look at the locations and understand what the town of Erin looks like. He's going to understand the people who are going to tell this story, and he's going to understand what happens to them. But through all of that, he's going to have a lot of questions. So he's going to leave those questions for me here. I'm going to go through, I'm going to answer them in text. And then when we have a story meeting, we have one every Tuesday, and we have a lot at, when a new story is beginning. So we'll have our first one, and we'll go through this entire list of questions. I'll clarify things. He'll ask more questions. I'll revisit this. I'll clarify the beats, get everything ready. And then as he's going through the draft, he'll leave new questions here for me and use it as a reference point. So this is really, really helpful as a collaborative tool to be able to communicate with one another like this. Now, this is really cool. This is the story, and I'm going to take you backwards, actually, because this is the way we did this story. This was all written before I even started doing any of the characters or locations or anything. I did this part, but 100% of these words are different now. I started at first with a single sentence, and then an elevator pitch, a rough story arc, and a simple synopsis. But then once I was done with that, I went and I filled in my characters, and then I built their world, then I did the beats, and then I did this all over again, because now I know the story. So I did the synopsis again, and then I broke it down into, chunks. These are the 7 things essentially that happen in the story. I broke that down into an elevator pitch for a paragraph, and then the single sentence. Evan Shale is desperate to forget, but terrified of being forgotten. I could only do that after I boiled everything down to its essential elements. Then you'll notice here we have a character folder. And as you can see, Johnny and I like to cast actors in the roles. This makes it way, way easier. I don't know if this would be as valuable for a solo writer, although I suspect it would be. I do this for my own stuff as well. But we like to cast actors because it gives us immediate shorthand. We have shared mannerisms, language patterns, an overall look. We know who these people are, and so it makes it easier to imagine the characters that we're trying to mutually bring to life. I love this. So I spent a long time with the characters, but sometimes I know what they look like ahead of time. Sometimes I don't know what they look like until they're fully fleshed out. Sometimes they surprise me and they change and I recast them, which I imagine directors have to do all the time. Finally, we got the locations down here, and this was a lot of fun to do. Essentially, this was location scouting. And again, this is what makes Scrivener such a beautiful, elegant piece of software. The fact that you can do all of this wonderful research and just throw it in one place and then pass it to somebody else who's going to digest it as an archaeologist who's kind of discovering something. And as I said before, the more of this stuff that you put together from the characters to the locations to all the beats, it makes it really easy to understand your story and work your way back up to the top until you've got that single sentence that really defines your story. That's it for now. In the next video, we're going to actually start with locations, which will be really, really fun. And I can't wait. See you then.